We take pictures, x-rays of the abdomens of dogs that are vomiting to make sure that they don't have anything inside causing the problem. What we look for is foreign bodies and tumors and pieces of bones and fluid in the abdomen. On this x-ray, this is the spine and this is the pelvis and these are the ribs. And this is a big rock. Rock is very dense, it's like bone. And behind the rock are huge areas of gas intestine, not huge, but big dilated areas of small intestine. So that means that the rock has stopped the flow of gas through the intestine and out the rear end. So it accumulates, and it's called, this area of gas is called an obstructive pattern. But here is that big rock again, and here's the gas all backed up in the bowel. So this is a perfect obstructive pattern that shows that the rock is blocking the flow of gas outward in the intestine. So we're going to go into surgery and see where the rock is, and we're going to get it out of there. Now our dog's under anesthetic. We use propofol to induce him, and then we use gas to keep him under anesthetic. You can see the monitor. It's right there. His heart rate is 143, and his oxygen percentage is 91. This is the area of the incision, but I don't want to accidentally touch this when I'm all sterile, prepped up. So I'm going to clamp the drape to the skin, like so. We don't use the towel drapes. A lot of people use the big orthopedic towel drapes or the towel drapes. We just use a regular paper drape. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to cut down right through the skin, down into the stomach, cut through the abdominal muscles. Okay, the first thing I pull out is this red, really red, inflamed, angry intestine. That's not normal, so I know that there's a problem, which I already saw in the x-rays. This is the dilated intestine that we saw. And I'm going to keep pulling it out because we gotta really see the whole intestine and see what's healthy and what's not healthy. You can see here it's starting to look healthier, pinker than the real red inflamed intestine. So this is healthier. Here's the spleen. Isn't that a pretty spleen? Looks like a tongue. Here's the rock, and I'm going to clamp off so the contents of the intestine don't spill out. These are called doyens. And doyens will clamp off the intestine so that all the juice doesn't flow all over the wound. I could take that section out, but I think it's going to be okay. We're just going to cut into it. So we're going to cut over the rock. And here's the rock.
That is a big rock.
Now look at the intestine contract. That's nature's miracle right there. It's beautiful. Now this intestine, we're going to suture it. Put a little suture in right underneath into the mucosa and through the serosa, and we're going to tie it off. Now I just use simple interrupted. There's lots of different ways to suture this up. A lot of vets like lots of different patterns. I'm a simple man. I like a simple knot. So I'm going to put them every few millimeters apart. Yeah, we have it almost all sewed up, and it takes a few minutes. We've got to make sure that whole hole's sewed up, because if the hole isn't sewed up, it will leak intestinal contents into the belly and now cause an infection or what's called peritonitis. And that's not a good thing. I'm going to put pressure in this repair. What I've done is I filled it up with saline and then I'm going to squeeze it. So see right there, it's a little tiny leak. The rest of it looks good. So right in there, I'm going to put another suture to make sure that stays, and the rest of it looks like it's going to hold just fine. Okay, I'll try that again. Okay, so that's pretty darn full and pretty darn tight. I don't see any leakage, especially if that much pressure. Now we're going to release the doyens, and we're going to let this intestine go back to doing what it should be doing, which is let the fluid run from this area clear over into this area. And what you'll see is immediately it'll start to contract and it goes, oh good, I feel better now. And we're washing them all off, washing all this stuff that might have got on them during surgery. See how they're bleeding though? This is hopefully they'll come back. I could take them out, but it would take a couple feet, and I'm hoping they're starting to seem like they're starting to come back. You can see the pinkness, so let's see how they do. See how they're contracting now? So I changed my gloves, I flushed it out. We have the dog on some antibiotics and some cortisone for shock. And I hope that intestine comes back. If it doesn't, we might have to go back in tomorrow and see how it is. But I hate to remove that much of an intestine if I thought it was coming back. We want to give it a chance. And that's the call in veterinary medicine. Sometimes you just don't know. You think it's going to come back. You think that the intestine's going to be viable. It wasn't much of a blockage, but see how fast the intestine can go into shock? That's what makes dogs die from this. Well, here in our ICU recovery cages, we have Noah, who ate the big rock, which you saw in the surgery. His guts were very, very, very black, and I was afraid they were very compromised, and I didn't think yesterday that he was going to, I wasn't sure he was going to make it. He's very painful, kind of just hung out, but today he's much better. He passed some formed stool, which means he had a BM, and he just ate a tiny bit of baby food. And this dog, it looks like little bookends. This is Bachi, and Bachi was puking, diarrhea, and we thought Bachi had something stuck in his gut, maybe a little bit of plastic or something that irritated the heck out of his intestine. He came in very dehydrated, but he must have, whatever he ate, scraped his gut, irritated his gut, caused a gut infection, and antibiotics and the fluids we put into him. Look at this big old bag. That's helped him get rehydrated, and the antibiotics has helped fight the infection. And Bachi, you feel better? Yeah, you feel much better. And how about you, Noah? Can you wag your tail too? So they're drumming labs and recovery. And they both feel better and both are going home, and that's what makes our job fun. That's the part that makes it fun. Is when you do surgeries and you do treatments that scare the heck out of you, or that we're unsure that we're absolutely doing the right thing. Vets aren't always sure, but we take the statistically best probabilities we can from what we've seen, and we go with it. And both these turned out great. So dogs can vomit from eating, young puppies vomit from parvo, and also eating something that irritates their stomach, and bigger dogs can vomit from also eating stuff that irritates their gut, be it a commercial treat with weed in it, or plastic, or wood, or a toy, or socks, or underwear, or a hat. I even took 9 one-pound salmon weights, fishing weights, out of a dog's intestine once. Dogs will eat weird things, but these guys are on the mend. Have a great day.
Well, I hope you enjoyed Noah's surgery to remove that rock. Noah gets bored and eats those rocks, and I don't know why dogs want to eat rocks that are that big. I once removed a few 1-pound salmon weights from a dog, but I imagine that's because they tasted like salmon. And it was a Dalmatian that might not have been too bright, and he ate 9 of them. That's weird. I've also removed baseball caps and other weird stuff from dogs' intestines that block it up. Anyway, what I was trying to explain is Noah's intestines started to get black from shock, from being compromised, and intestines are the shock organ in the dog, and they will turn black and release a lot of inflammatory products which will make the dog go into shock, and I was hoping that wouldn't happen. I wanted to give Noah the benefit of the chance of leaving those in because he's a search and rescue dog that would search for victims of real bad calamities like earthquakes or bombings. So I didn't want his gut to be compromised by that, and we don't want to take a chance on his life, but then again we want him to enjoy and serve like he's been trained to do. So I left the intestines in, and he did fine the next day. Went home. He had a little suture reaction which we had to deal with, but he's back in training and living the good life. Also, I wanted you to make sure that you knew that after I got through sewing the intestine, I changed all the gear, the drapes, my gloves, the instruments, and flushed everything out. So I actually sewed up the wound with a clean set of instruments and gloves and drapes and so forth, because you don't use, once you finish your contaminated portion of the surgery, you don't want to use any more stuff from that portion, so you start over fresh. And dogs can have vomiting and diarrhea from eating lots of treats with glutens in them, and sometimes beef products, sometimes the chemicals. They can chew on toys, they can chew on wrappers, they can chew on foil, they can get in the garbage and eat spoiled food. All those things cause vomiting and diarrhea. If your dog's mildly sick, you can give Pepsid, and the dosage for that is at my website, Dog Dish Diet, under 11 Practical Home Remedies. And you should fast your dog, and the next day just feed him rice and maybe a little chicken baby food mixed in with it, and then go back to their regular food after treating them with Pepsid or maybe even Imodium. Those are over-the-counter treatments you can use if your dog's just mildly sick. If it's really sick, you should take it into the vet for sure. Anyway, those 11 Practical Home Remedies is available at my website, Dog Dish Diet, where my book is. Now in the second edition, I kind of cleaned it up and put some more streamlined stuff in there for people that really don't want to read so much. I put a new crockpot recipe that's easier, so you can home cook for your dogs at home, and you can actually cook really quality food for a lot cheaper. So I hope you enjoy the video and have a great day.